Hi everyone, welcome to Board of Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie, you're not. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. A beginner's guide to premium tanks. How to get the best value out of your premium tanks. And a lot of things like how to get the tanks. Two very, very common mistakes that I still see after 5.5 years of playing this game that people make with their premium tanks. How to get the best out of your crew. Other benefits of the premium tanks. And a few of my favourite premium tanks that I like to play with Frontlines. Frontlines is coming just in time for Valentine's Day, and that's the reason I'll put this video together. Hopefully you, if you're a beginner, if you're new to this game, if you've just gotten up to tier 8, you might get a little bit out of this video as to how to best utilise your premium tanks for the Frontlines mode. But even if you're not up to tier 8 yet, you're driving around at tier 4, 5 or 6 and you're thinking about going out and buying a premium tank, then how you can get the most benefit out of your crew, credits and all that kind of stuff. Firstly, how to get premium tanks. The most common way of getting a premium tank is going to the premium store. This is a Progetto M35 Mod 46, one of my favourite tanks in the Frontline mode. It's a tier 8 Italian auto reloading medium tank. Pretty groovy tank. I'm not going to go through how good the tank is. However, if you go to the premium store, you'll see something like this. There's a big purchase button. You can generally either buy it by itself or you can buy it in a big bundle, which traditionally costs a hell of a lot more money. You can see the big bundles there for the 50 TP, the Carnarvon Action X and the Progetto, costing well over $100. But of course you can also buy them as a standalone. Another way that you can purchase these tanks is just simply by going into the tech tree. If you've already got some gold, you can exchange gold for a premium tanks, and in the tech tree they're highlighted by in a golden color through every nation that you could imagine. The other way that sometimes wargaming do, there are two other ways actually. One other way is they just give them out. They often give out a low tier premium tank over Christmas time, which might not be something relevant to somebody like myself who's been playing for some time, but it quite often is relevant for people who are new to the game, and they can learn a little bit about premium tanks with their down at tier 2 or 3 or whatever it is that they give away over Christmas and New Year. And occasionally, if you look in your missions tab or campaign tab, they are often there's a personal campaigns where you can get all these different reward vehicles they call, which work very, very similar to premium tanks. And of course in the missions tab, sometimes you're going to have a marathon mission for a premium tank. A lot of the premium tanks in my garage, that's how I got them, through the marathon missions. The Progetto that we just saw on the screen not too long ago was one of those examples. A tank that was rewarded through completing lots and lots of missions. The Progetto did it. The Super Pershing years ago had a mission very, very similar. There's quite a few of them through all different tiers. About a year or two ago, the Wargaming gave away the T-34 85M at tier 6, which is a very, very handy tier 6 Russian medium tank, which is good for newer players, good for older players as well, good for skirmishes and all that kind of stuff as well, because it's a tier 6. Moving on now to the two biggest mistakes that I see people make with their premium tanks. Mistake number 1 is exactly what I did. A player who might be up to tier 4, 5 or 6 goes out and buys himself a tier 8 premium tank. A terrible mistake to make. I did it. Don't just learn from my mistakes. If you're up to tier 5 or 4 or even 6, don't make the mistake of going out and buying a tier 8 premium tank for two very good reasons. One, you'll be playing outside your comfort zone. You won't be enjoying it. You won't be playing to your potential, and it might potentially just turn you off those higher tiers. And two, you're going to be letting down your teammates as well. Good chat. When I did it, and I apologise to anyone who saw me running around in my T-34 Heavy about 5 years ago. I made the exact same mistake that a lot of people do make. I knew nothing about crew skills, so I had a dud crew in the thing, probably a 75% crew, or maybe 100% crew that might have come with the premium tank. I knew nothing about equipment, because equipment cost just as much as the tanks that I already had in my garage, because I was only up to tier 5 or maybe tier 6. And just because a bloke I worked with said that he loved his T-34 Heavy tank, but I didn't know he was already up to tier 10. I didn't even know what tier 10 tanks looked like, and all of a sudden I was fighting against tier 8, 9 and 10 tanks that I'd never seen in the game before in my T-34 Heavy tank. A terrible mistake to make. The second mistake people make, and look, back on that, if you really want to buy a premium tank, or if you want to grind towards one of the missions to get yourself a premium tank, by all means do it, but make sure it's at the tier that you're already comfortable playing at. Otherwise you know, like I said, you'll be letting yourself down and you'll be letting down your teammates, and of course you won't be enjoying yourself. Who would enjoy playing against tanks that they've never seen before and that they really don't know what they're doing? The second mistake is crew skills, and I constantly see this, not just from new players though. There are plenty of players out there who have been playing longer than me, played more battles than me, and are a hell of a lot better than me, and some of them still insist on using different crews for every tank. And I'm going to show you my garage right now. This is the Centurion 5-1, the tank that you've just seen on the Frontlines map running around farming up the damage. It's a British medium tank. We all know it's an Aussie tank, but let's call it a British tank for the time being. It's got 4 crew members, a driver, a gunner, a loader, and a commander. And you can see the name of the tank there. I'm not sure if you can see it. If you're watching on a small screen, you might not be able to. It says that it's trained for the Centurion Action X. There's my Centurion Action X, a very, very good looking tank as well. It's got a spotlight, it's got a grouse looking gun, some groovy camouflage. It's the Tier 10 Tech Tree British medium tank. Because the crew is trained for this Tech Tree tank, it can sit in all of these other 7 premium tanks that I have in the garage. The Centurion 5-1 has exactly the same crew as the Centurion Action X. The FV4202, this is another tank that was available by missions a couple of years ago when the Centurion Action X replaced it as the top of the tier medium tank on the British line. But same crew again, so the same crew sit in the FV4202, the Centurion 5-1, the Sherman VC Firefly, the same 4 slots there. And remember I was talking about low tier premium tanks? Here's a little tier 5 Matilda Black Prince. Again, the same 4 slots there for its crew. And the crew are going to benefit this weekend as I'm recording this. It's a ×5 weekend. If you go through all those ×5s for the first victories, imagine all those crew skills are just going to be exacerbated, and that all multiplies. Whether you've got, it's a premium tank, it's a ×5, it's a, might have a premium account, you might even have some personal reserves and all that kind of stuff going. After just a few games, all of a sudden you're going to see an increase in the crew skills of that tank, and that's why we share the crew around. Now it's very easy to do. All you need to do, if you've never done it before, you find the crew, you right click on him and you send him to the barracks. That sounds pretty easy. And then you find your other tank, you left click on that position, the commander, and there he is there. No, he's not. There he is, right there. And then you click him in and he goes in there. Once you've played a battle in that tank with that crew member, it's even more simple. You can just click here in this top left hand corner, crew operations, return crew to vehicle, and they all go in there. And it doesn't matter which tank you're running around when, you click it like that and you'll get them all back in, no problems whatsoever. And as far as crew skills goes, another benefit that some people don't seem to realise. Now remember, this is a beginner's guide, so if you've been playing for a long time, this might not be news to you, but there are plenty of players that I know personally who are better than me, been playing longer than me, and they just don't get this thing about crew skills. Sharing the crew between all those 8 different tanks. Now sure, some of them might have an extra crew member, such as the lower tier Aussie tanks, the AC4 at tier 6 and the AC1 at tier 4. They've got a rogue radio operator in there, but once you've been playing for a while and you do start progressing through the ranks, you do find you end up getting a few spare crew members, so you whack them into those radio operator positions in some of the lower tier premium tanks, whereas that crew member is not really needed up at tier 10. Accelerate crew training is another big bonus. If I go out in my Cromwell B and I go out there and I have a great game, I get 1,000 experience. Now every crew member will get 1,000 experience. I'm going to return the crew first so you can see what I'm talking about. Every crew member will get 1,000 experience, and generally the tank will get 1,000 experience as well. But with a premium tank, you don't really need that extra 1,000 experience. All it's going to do is go into convertible free experience. Instead of doing that, if you tick this little box here, accelerate crew training, you'll get a little "Are you sure?" kind of box pop up. You click yes, and that 1,000 experience that would normally go to the tank, that will go to your lowest skilled crew member. Now in the case of my Centurion, by Cromwell B, it's the radio operator, because the radio operator doesn't really get much of a run. So that radio operator will get double the experience that anybody else would get for the next game or for any subsequent games. Which what that does is that skills up your lowest trained crew member throughout their battles until they catch up to the other one, and then the next one who's lowest on the list will get double the experience as well. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I'll go back through it in just another minute. Now I was talking about some of my favourite tanks for Frontlines, for the Frontlines mode, and this one that you can see on the screen now is one of my favourite tanks as well. It's an auto reload. It's the Italian Progetto. The Italian Progetto and I think the Centurion 5-1 both came out just before Frontlines did last year, and I use it as an opportunity to play around with them. Of course, it's an auto reloader, and with auto loaders and auto reloaders in the Frontlines mode, when they come into the game, they're already halfway through their long reload, so you're not looking at a 30-second reload in some cases for some auto-loading tanks. And of course the Italian one is a little bit more versatile because it starts reloading as you go. That's why I like it. And of course the Frontlines mode, from my point of view, the Frontlines mode does play well for medium tanks, and you can see it in the garage there. And this is another example of a tank with, it's got 4 crew members, and those 4 crew members sit perfectly with the tier 10, which is exactly another reason why I like it, because every game I'm cross-training my crews so that my crews are doing really, really well as far as crew skills and all that kind of jazz go. One other tank that I'm a massive fan of in Frontlines is the Lorraine 40-tonner. The Lorraine 40-tonner, auto-loading, 4-shot French medium tank. It's fast, it's furious, it can flank around the heavy tanks, put pain into their backsides, and of course, again, the crew matches perfectly with the Batchat 25T, everyone's favourite tier 10 auto-loading medium tank. The Lorraine 40-tonner always has a great time on Frontlines, and when it first spawns into the game, it has that benefit of already being halfway loaded. Well, it did last year anyway. Hopefully it does again this year. I'm pretty excited about Frontlines. One more thing with the Lorraine 40-ton especially, because there's only 3 crew members, with the accelerated crew training, because there's only 3 of them, the double experience for the lower skilled player cycles through a lot quicker because there's only 3 crew members, and the Batchat 25T is exactly the same because it does have the same 3 crew members in there as well. One other point that I'd really like to make when it comes to buying premium tanks, and I'll just pick any random one on this page. This is the World of Tanks premium tank website. This is the 112. I only clicked on it because it was there. Occasionally you'll get ×5 XP victory missions, so sometimes they get thrown in when you buy the tank. You get for your first X amount of wins, it will be a ×5 win, similar to how it is on some promotional weekends. And you can see there's a little bit of a blurb about the tank and some beautiful pictures. Two things that I don't like how Wargaming look after their premium tanks is, one, they don't tell you what kind of crew members you get when you go to the premium shop. I reckon they used to, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. I have been wrong before in the past, not often, but every now and then. So one thing I highly recommend you do if you're looking at a new premium tank and you're not too sure what to make of it, if you haven't worked, you can either compare them in the garage or go to this website, tanks.gg. It's a fantastic website, tells you all about the guns, the mobility, engine, hit points, all that kind of stuff. But if you scroll right down to the bottom of the screen, down there in that corner, that tells you the crew members that this particular tank has. This is the Centurion 5-1, the Rock. It's got the commander, gunner, driver and loader, and then that way you can look into your garage for the tank, whatever tank you might be up to in that line on the British medium tank, or whatever tank you're looking at buying. You can have a look at that line and make sure that those crew members match up, because there are a couple of premium tanks out there that the crew members don't match up. The other thing that I think maybe Wargaming could probably improve on is when they give you a 50% or a 75% or 100% crew. Occasionally 100% crew often comes with the tank. In generally that 100% crew is generally the worst crew to put in the tank, especially if you already have a tech tree tank from the same nation and the same class as that premium tank. And that's what I was trying to point out before when I was showing you my garage with the British medium tanks in it. If you have one tank which is the same class and the same style as the medium tank, that's the tank, the tech tree tank, that's the tech tree tank that needs to be, the crew needs to be trained for that tech tree tank. And then you can transfer them, cross-train them in any premium tank which is the same nation and style. You saw that example where I had the 1 tech tree tank for the British medium tanks and the 7 premium tanks. That one crew can cycle through all of those 7 premium tanks. As far as cross-training the crews go. So there you go, there you have it. That's my beginner's guide to premium tanks. I'm looking forward to Frontlines. I hope you are as well. If you've been playing for a long time and you think I'm miles away, please let me know in the comments down below. If you're not, if you're new to the game and you got something out of it, feel free to ask a few questions. Continue the discussion, talk about what you're looking forward to, whether it's Frontlines or maybe you might be looking forward to getting your first tier 5 or tier 6 tank. Hopefully this guide has been helpful to some of you, and hopefully it helps you not make some of the same mistakes that I made from. But if you only get 2 things from this video, make sure, number 1, don't buy a tank that's outside your comfort zone. Stick to whatever tier you're up to. Be patient. Patience is a virtue. You'll get there eventually, and I think Frontlines even gives you a couple of rentals when it comes to some tier 8 tanks for the game mode. And number 2, the crew skills. Make sure you cross-train the crews. Train the crew for a tech tree tank, and then just slot them in to those premium tanks as you accumulate them during your Water Tanks career. Once again, thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave some comments down below if I'm miles away on this one, but I reckon I've hit the nail on the head. I might not be that good at this game, but I reckon I am pretty good at getting value for money out of my premium tanks and all that kind of stuff. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Take care, and see you all next time.